G'day and welcome. So we've got the Apache, and what we're going to try and do is change the laser code. That's what we're doing, and we're going to be using the K version of the missile. So the AGM-114K Hellfire, I'm going to try and change the laser code, and that's the objective here. We're just a training mission. This is not so much a tutorial, but if I do something wrong, let me know. I'm going to do things quite differently though. I'm just going to get rid of the IHADSS, and then we're going to go and close this door. And then we'll go down here. I'm just going to turn all of this up for fun. So we've turned all that up. And brightness and white. So I've got that out of the way. Turn on my battery. Open the APU lid and hit the APU. Now I've got all this set up on my controls. So the two levers plus the engine start buttons. But while you're waiting, you can always go over to here and just move this down until it's in position. And you can go up here, hit the chronometer as well. So that starts ticking, and we're just waiting for the screen to come up. Pretty good. So we've got 8 on board at the moment, and we do have 8 targets out there. I would have to hit all targets in order to be successful, so we'll see how we go. The only other interesting thing I've done is I've set up a button on this. I've got the stabilizer button. So you can't see it when I'm in that position, but when I jump here, a little bit quicker to bring it up this way, the LHG linear motion compensation button. So I've got that set to something now, so I have that as an option if I want it. But yeah, but just waiting for this to start up. What you can do is you can actually bring these two levers forward. So we'll do the left and the right, because I've got the start switches on the other buttons. So start 1, start 2, and then it's my starting of the engines happening. And then the only other thing is I can bring it to halfway. So if you put it to halfway, you don't get any warnings. So there to halfway, but if you go to full, immediately you get the warnings. So yeah, just put it to halfway at the moment until you get to like a green. So this line here is green, and then you can go full and you don't have any warnings. I'm noticing when we did this in the past, we'd go to weapon utilities, and you'd have to set up the laser, but that appears not to be the case anymore. So not sure if we're still waiting for it to start up here or what. Just give it full power, and we'll turn off our APU because we don't need that anymore. When you jump into the front position, you'll see what I'm talking about. So I can move myself left and right, I think. Yep. And if I go into here, weapon, see if I hit util. See down here, laser. So there's actually no dot next to the laser. So if I click that, that is the dot next to the laser. Cool. Bring ourselves back to the center, and we've got to get ourselves in the sky. So we'll go and fly from here. I wonder if it would be worthwhile flying from the front. We'll give that a go, just for a change. So we'll hit C on the keyboard. We've got controls, so in theory we can take off from here. Bring up the controls so you can see what I'm doing. It's not really that exciting. Just a little bit of left rudder and back and left on the joystick. And then we're taken off. And then we'll just gradually move forward. Have a quick look at our external view. There we are. And I just want to gain some altitude. What would be more useful to me right now is some flight control information. So put it on flight. Cool. And the other thing I just want to set up is this, change that to arm. Okay, so we've got plenty of altitude now. And we'll face the helicopter off in that direction, which I believe is where our enemies are. So now if I tap C on the keyboard, will that pass it to the back pilot? I'm going to tap C about now. I moved the joystick, it's not moving the helicopter, so that's good. Bring up the control and then change it to 0.
Copy, slow one down.
So hopefully he just holds the altitude now, which is what I'm wanting. And we can take over and do everything else from here. So, we're going to click on this button. Select light switch, TADS right. Then to move it around, we're going to hit these buttons. RHG manual tracker switch, left, down, and right. And then when we find a target, we're pushing this button. LHG image AutoTrack offset switch, IAT center. If we have to deselect, we use the OFS center. And then we've got our laser button. So we've got RHG LRFD trigger, second detent, that's our laser. And then we're just using that LHG weapons trigger switch, first detent, second detent to fire. So that's what we've got set up at the moment. We had the compensation switch, linear compensation if we want it, and there's also, just in case you're wondering, there's also a weapon guard button that you can move weapons trigger guard, open and close, so sometimes you need to open that if you're using the guns, but we don't need that because we're just using these Hellfires. So I think that's mostly everything. The only other button you might need to know about is this LHG weapons action was switch and missile. And that's what I'm going to use to get our missile selected. Okay, so let's get out of here. We're here, so we're going to hit right, bring up our screen, and then we're going to move ourselves down and see if we can start recognizing some landmarks. What I didn't talk about is you've also got your zoom button. So you've got this LHG TADS field of view switch, medium, narrow, wide, and zoom. So all of those are also useful. But have a look in the description of the video because that's really where I'm putting my information more than telling you in the video. So we just got to track where is the river. That's the first priority. For some reason I haven't seen a river yet. Just go quickly to external view. Yeah, there's the river. Gonna go left a little bit. And here's our targets. Cool. So we've got our targets out here. We'll now zoom in. We've got our target. So we're again going to lock him up. We've got a target lock, then we're going to put our laser on him. We've got our laser. So now I said I wanted to change the codes. So if we hit weapon and then hit code, so we've got it on 1688. If we just now go and decide to change it to set LRFD, so we put that to 2111. We set the laser spot to 2111. And then we change the channel to 2111. So all of that's that now. Go back to weapon. Then we go and change it to missile. And there's nothing here that's telling me what we're doing. I'm just curious, if we bring up the IHADSS, does that show us anything about what channel? I don't see anything. That was matching that code 2111. Just look at the IHADSS again. There's 2788, but that's not. Yeah, so there's nothing on there. But we've got that code set. If we go down to here, that's re-displaying all this information. And we've got a lock. So we'll just go and see if this works. So we'll go and fire. We've got our armor on, so that's this first detent, and I didn't use the second detent. Got a timer, but it's going to hit there a little bit before the timer from what I've seen. We've got our target. Cool. We'll deselect the target, and then move to the next one. So target lock, and then reacquire the laser on it. We've got the laser targeting, and then we'll just do the first detent. And we'll see how this goes. 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll just try. Yep, you can see the explosion out there and there. So we've got that on target. And then we will take it off. Go back down to this one. Now, I'm not needing the compensation button at the moment, but it is semi-useful if the helicopter is moving. So we've got our lock. We're going to put our laser on. Move for required laser spot, and then we fire. And we should hit target. Yep, we got him. Okay, so let's take the laser off, deselect, and we'll go to our next friend over here. And we're going to send him a package. So we go over above him, target lock, laser, and then fire. Helicopter's doing pretty good. Yep, targeted. Cool. And then this one I'm going to use a different button because this button's not a held down button, so I'm going to actually have to hold it down myself, I think. So we'll see how that goes. We go over above this one, target lock him, then hold down the laser button. So if I let go, it really lets go now. So if I hold down the laser, I've got to keep it held down, and then I'm going to fire. And then we'll see how this one goes. So I'm keeping it held down. 7, 6, 5, 4, and target destroyed. Beautiful. Okay, that's pretty good. And so we did all that flying from the front seat. It got us to here, and then let the back pilot take over. So we're going to retake over the control of the flying again from the front seat. See if we can do that. So we're just going to tap C on the keyboard to get control. And we have control very nicely. There's a few piloting things like the trim, but I'm not sure if that would work from here because I haven't set it up that way, but maybe that is universal for the front and back seat or whoever the pilot is. So I'll have a little look at that. Yeah, because if you use the controls that I had set up from the back seat in the front seat, it's trying to do that with the TADS here in front of me. So it's not quite the same. So that would need a little bit of a review of the buttons. But otherwise you can just generally fly it from here, that's no worries. So we can see the damage we did over here. Now this next area I actually selected because I was having great difficulty targeting stuff when I had infantry standing next to the vehicle. So I don't know why, but you get like a warning, like MT warning when you're on the Kiowa, and it's a little bit more challenging to try and target it when it was like that. So that's one of the reasons why I kept using that as an example, because it's easy to target those ones, but these other ones up the river here were much more difficult to target. And simply you'd fire and the missile wasn't hitting the target. I do know with the AKWS, if you're too close, it won't hit the target. So if you're having problems, just have a think about getting your range a little bit more, because you either need to point the nose of the aircraft towards your target, or you need to get some range in so it's got enough time to pick up the signal and then hit the target. But with these Hellfires, you just don't seem to have that problem. They can just pick up wherever you've got, as long as it's generally in front of you. But the AKWS needs a little bit more precision, it seems. So anyway, we've got 3 targets up here. I think we've only got 3 missiles left. So we'll go and have a little look at that. This is the K version. We've got laser code here. But what I can't see is anything really confirming the laser code other than that screen. Like, that's all there is. So anyway, this is whereabouts we want to be. And then we'll start turning ourselves towards where we want to target. We're going quite fast at the moment. Okay, and then we just want to hand the controls back. So hit C on the keyboard. And we should no longer have control. We can bring up George and bring the speed back.
Copy, just hold one down.
And he just needs to hover here, basically. Perfect. So now this here is not facing in the right direction, and I know on the Kiowa we can center it really easily, but this one not so much. So anyway, all I can do is bring it back towards center manually, and then we'll try and work out where we are, or where we're looking anyway. Okay, so we're about towards center, then we'll go down. And we have this little structure here. So we're over here. There is that, but there's another little group of buildings further inland. Here we go. And this is what we're wanting. And so now if we zoom in, we've got our target. A couple of infantry next to the truck. So we're going to select it. We've got a target lock. Then we're going to give it the laser. We've got a laser. And we'll just first detent on the button. It's fired. We'll see how this goes. Watch it come in. Yep, that was pretty successful. So then we'll just take a laser off. These guys seem to be a little bit disturbed by that explosion that happened next to them just then. And we'll go and give them a target lock. Put our laser on. And then we can fire. Rifle. And 5, 4. Yep. We got a target. And a couple of infantry. So then we'll go over to this one. Now this one is hidden by buildings from memory. Ah, I can't actually turn anymore. Yep, that's the range of my scope here. So we'll turn over here. Now we'll zoom in. And he's behind this building here. So I could target one of those guys, but we've only got one missile left. And what we'll try and do is we'll go for a little bit of a flight. So we'll grab controls, and then we can see it burning out that way. And we'll just head up this way. It's very beautiful to fly a boat this as well. It's just a little bit more responsive than a Kiowa, which makes it a little bit more difficult to fly, I would say. Depends what you get used to, and also your settings and your curves and everything else. Just to show you what I am using on the axis is on the X and the Y. I'm using, well, apparently 100. Oh, because see, CPG. So I've got nothing on the front, but then when I go to the pilot and I go and change it to access commands, you can see there's my curves. So 90, 90, 20. So I got 90, 90, 20. But then when I jump into the front, I've got nothing. So what we might try and do is change that. So I've got Cyclic Pitch, and we'll just make this 90. Make that 90. And just give it some kind of curve. So we've got 90, 90, 20. And then X, axis tune. Although this is kind of helpful. Say you like two settings and you don't want to go in here and change it all the time. You could just have a different setting for the front and the back. And then if you want to change it, you can just change position. 90, 90, 20. Okay. But that's what we've done for the moment. And then just the trim stuff. Is there any other little extra thing that I need to do? You can see that burning over there. Okay, so we're just going to bring that throttle back, start turning it around. That's pointing generally in the right direction. And C, and then left control and V, and then bring the speed back.
Copy, just slow one down.
And he should slow down for me. We're pointing generally in the right direction. This is all wrong. So I need a way to center this very quickly. If I turn the screen off and then re-bring it back, what does that do? Does that center anything? So then we can scroll down towards the ground. Change of view. It's a bit better. Then we can go down. So we're trying to find that little group of burning stuff in front of us. There's the river where it splits. It's up left of that, so here we go. And we should have a good view now. So if we go and zoom in, we've got a target here. So we'll go and target lock him, and then we're going to put on our laser. We've only got one missile left, so we want to get all targets, and then we're going to fire. Let's see how this goes. 1, 2, 4, 2. It's a little close, and we are destroyed. Beautiful. And if we wanted to, we have the option of changing to guns. So let's go and change to guns. Just checking. Yeah, we've got guns selected now. And then I don't think I have the weapon cover on, so then we can just fire. Yeah, we're getting him. Lots of shots near him there. That will finish him off. Cool. So then we can jump back to the rear position, and we can do a bit of flying from up here, and we can try our trim button out. So all I'm doing with the trim stuff is this. So I've got force trim hold switch, and then trim reset to default, and that's pretty much all I'm tapping all the time. So we'll go and get ourselves control. I'll head down for a little sweep over the target area. It may still be hot down there because I'm not sure if every infantry got taken out, but there's our damage. And also our damage. Nothing has fired at us, so that's cool. We'll head back to base. And we'll try the trim button. So you go and whack up on the trim, and then we just let go of the joystick, and then if it's still not doing what you want, you just readjust it, hit up again, and then that's basically all we're needing to do. And then I don't need to touch it anymore. Can let go without having to hold forward on my joystick all the time. And then when we get closer, we can just tap backwards, and simple as that. Goes back to default. We can fly from default. Perfect. So we destroyed that target. Get my feet back on the pedals just slightly. And if I can, I just want to bring up the flight information. You can see we're almost back. So we can start to bring back our joystick. Bring back the collective. We want to just slow it down a little bit. So we'll get rid of that trim, so it's just back to default, because otherwise I'll never be able to fly it. Perfect. Just nicely going along. Just bring it above the concrete if I can, so I don't get all that blast from the grass. So I come down lower. As you slow down, you have to give it a little bit more collective, so you would have been retreating it, but once you get to this point, you're actually giving it collective just to keep yourself in the sky. But this one's super powerful compared to the other helicopters. Just 47% there. Alright, so we'll turn in here. And we'll try and turn it around. There we are. Perfect. And then we don't want to go back too much, so we'll just give it a little bit of nose forward and then gently bring it down. And there we are. Much better. Perfect. So we're in front of the thing, pretty much exactly where we want to be. And then we can go and just bring this throttle all the way back. Hit it to end, and then open our door, and that's a super quick way of shutting it down. Turn the battery off, and we are done. Cool, thank you for watching. As far as I can tell, that's how we can change the laser code on this Apache. But either way, if you do that, it still seems to work. So I'd really need to test with other players and see if we could both hit our targets despite having different codes. But yeah, looks good. Thanks for watching.